Hi everyone, Emma here. I have some bracelets that I finished and I wanted to show you and talk about it. And we're going to do a sneak peek at a bracelet that I'm going to do a tutorial for. So this one here was a design that I did with these lovely, let me adjust the camera here, with these lovely Miyuki, I think. I paused because I'm trying to think. Um, Tubes. They're 3mm bugles, and I am obsessed with them. You can do so many things with them, and they're just lovely. So, yeah, this was one that I hadn't finished that I wanted to finish, and that's what it looks like on the back side. So, you may have seen this like months and months ago. You know what? This will probably be a bracelet for a giveaway because I think I intentionally made it 7.5. As you can see, it almost goes on my hand. That means I have a small hand, so that means it's bigger. So stay tuned for that one. Then there's this one that was part of a challenge from Wearing Stones. That's Annalise is the person from that channel, Wearing Stones, and she challenged me to do flat spiral side by side, and it turned out amazing. I used Swarovski crystals. These are fire something crystals. They're incredible. They turned out really nice, and I didn't know how to finish it, so I finally did. Let me open this here. This side that opens. These are the lovely clasps that I got on AliExpress. They're gorgeous. So this is how I finished it off. So I had already done the strand on the side, and I didn't want to take it apart, so I left it as it was. But what I did was I went through the beads and then made sure I kind of attached all the strands together so they don't flop over. So if you see like some of these, well, actually these ones are fine too. But like they'll flop over and go all the way over. So I sewed them all together and then added the clasp, and it looks amazing. This one's not going anywhere. Sorry. You know, it's weird. Lately I've been making them my size because I'm like, I'm always giving away my bracelets. I need to keep some for myself. Of course, I'll be like, who's got a small wrist? I've got a bunch of bracelets to give you. So that turned out amazing. So I've been kind of cleaning off my desk and stuff, and I'm coming across these bracelets that I've not finished. So, ta-da! So this was Vicky. Oh, I don't know now. I think this was Gail from BC that made these ones. Vicky sent me some other cabochons, and I bezeled it. And I did it so you could use it as like a two-sided, just because I like the back as well. But definitely this side looks pretty amazing. And then I just added the peyote, and I picked the orange. There's a tiny bit of orange in here, so I wanted just enough to come through. And then definitely the purple and the turquoise. And then I grabbed these clasps that I got from Pearls & Co. in the UK. It's actually a French store. And I can't remember how much I paid. These are gold plated, so they're little, little more pricey, but they are super sturdy and they look amazing. They were so easy to use with the peyote. I'm just looking at, yeah, I guess I did finish it. So I finished it with these 15 O's here, so that if you look, it looks like this strap rolls under, and that was the intention. So I just noticed there was a few there that didn't look like they were all the way there. So you can see. So that turned out really nice. That is just, this color scheme reminds me of when swatches were out, and they were out when I was a teenager, and I, of course, was obsessed, saved my money, and went and bought one when they first came out and wore it all the time. And it was like these crazy colors. So, so you got, the elegant and then the crazy. It should more be like the elegant, the way out there. Then I did this. So I saw this bracelet design a couple of times done different ways. So I've seen this done where they don't, there's no middle row. So it's just like sets of two this way and that way. I wanted to do a more like even one. I like the way it turned out, but I feel like this is using brick stitch, I think it's called. I just find I'm a little obsessive about, I want the beads to sit exactly straight up and down, and I find they're kind of wonky all over the place. But of course, this is my first time doing it. Now I altered the design. Um, they didn't have these corner, and then this piece wasn't there, that piece, and then I just added to that. That's what it looks like on the back. It's, and then I just added one of these slider clasps. You can get these where they have this like a compression that goes down, but you can get these where they're magnetic on the bottom and they slide into each other. They're super easy to work. And of course, Swarovski crystals. What? These are 8O seed beads. And it could be using 8O seed beads, you're going to start to get into the chunky, unless they're like a Toho where they're more tubular. So it's all, checking things out, testing them out. And then there's this one. What? So this one, I got the idea. This is like probably my second peyote bracelet that I've ever made. I started this like probably 2 years ago, and I only had like a little section done, and then I was like, I pulled it out and I'm like, why didn't I finish this? And then once I started on it, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So the idea was to add a bigger bead in the middle for the middle 3 rows, and it was supposed to create a kind of rounded look to it, like that. But as I was working it, it started this wrinkly thing. And you know what? I like it, so I just left it. And then I added it to these end pieces. So these end pieces have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes. So this was difficult to figure out how to get this on there so that it was even. So I had to take it apart and start over. And what I did was I started with the middle hole, because there's 7 holes. So it made it even where, if you take out that 7th hole, you have 3 on each side. So that was, and I knew this was my middle here, right? So that made it easy. And then what I did was I went through and I used these 11O beads to go through the holes, and I wove in. Now, there's not a bead for every hole, so there was, every other bead goes through one of those holes, and then when I got to the end, I just went through and added another bead to make it look like an even row. So that part was more to get it straight and even on the clasp. And then I went through with some 50 O's to complete the gaps in these. And it's really hard to see with these beads, the gaps in between the peyote, but it also helped me reinforce everything. And I went through a few times as well, so that like this is not going anywhere. I do have to say these are probably one of my all-time favorite. Um, I want to say they're delicates, but I think they're treasures. But I'll tell you what, they are super hard to work with if you're not in good light because they're so shiny. It's hard to see where the bead starts and where it ends. So I'm like trying to go through, and if you really look, here's one here. The thread is like over top of the beads because I couldn't see. But you can't tell looking at it like that. So I haven't decided what to do. This is going to fit me perfectly with maybe that space. So I have to think about what I want to put. Probably just a jump ring and a lobster claw of some sort on the end. You know what? I should just do a magnetic clasp, actually. That would make it easier and shorter. So that is that one. So here is the one I want to show you. Oh my goodness. So this, as it turns out, this is a design that I saw on Pinterest, and I've been obsessed with this design for a long time, and I didn't have the skills to do it. I didn't know what they were using. It's so funny. I look at it now, I'm like, oh, it makes total sense. So it's amazing how my skills have come along. So yeah, you start out with doing peyote, and then you do 6 rows, you roll it and attach it, and then you start doing herringbone till you get. And the thing I liked about this was that they used pearls. Now, this was my first attempt. So if you look at this one here, the beads are separate. I would add another bead there. And I ended up adding more beads when it came to the Swarovski, but the Swarovskis are bigger anyway. So these are 4 millimeter pearls. It still looks lovely, but when you start to look up close, as beaders that you are, you'll see that, right? But so yeah, this is a really nice one. I am going to do a video on this very soon. So the next step I did, so I have no idea what I'm going to use for a clasp on this. But what I was going to say about this design, the design I saw was from one specific person. So there's enough room there for a substantial clasp, or, adding something to the end. So I didn't want to copy their design entirely. And then I did some research on Pinterest. My wife, she's like, you're like that kid from band camp. At band camp? I'm like, on Pinterest, on YouTube, I saw a video. So anyway, there's a lot of people doing this design and variations of this design. So I don't feel like that I'm really infringing on somebody's design. So let me show you what I did for the second one. And I think I haven't decided for the video what we're going to do. If we're going to do all Swarovski, but look at how amazing it looks. Or maybe try a different color pearl and add the extra bead that it needs and see. Because here's the thing I want to show you. So this design came out of a comment that somebody posted saying, and I apologize, it's really hard for me to remember names. But anyway, she said, I have so many seed beads. I got to get using them in some simple bracelet designs. So I said, hang in there. I'll be coming up with some. So I've been doing some research, and I have well, that's why I started with this one too, because I wanted to do something that mostly involved seed beads, so that you don't need a whole bunch of stuff to make a bracelet. If you already have some seed beads, you're set to go, kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking about sticking with the pearls. So I could probably do some like different color pearls or something like that, but actually, the green looks amazing with the gold. So these are Swarovskis, and I'm gonna add a third row there. So I would like, if you're up for it, to comment and see what you want to see done with this one for the tutorial. So whether it's a pearl, what color, and or if you want straight up Swarovski, and any colors, any design suggestions, I'm totally open. So yeah, so that is what I've been working on lately, and I have a bunch of other stuff too. We'll get to it eventually. Hang in there, everybody. I am. And just having some fun playing with my beads and talking to you guys. I really appreciate all the comments. Um, I read them all, and I may not comment on all of them, um, but I definitely read them all. And if I'm not super tired, I do try and respond to them all, and really appreciate your input. It means a lot to me. Like, I'm still pretty isolated here. Today was my first day of going out by myself. I feel like I'm like 10 years old. So, it was funny because I went to a doctor's appointment for a dermatologist to take a look at some areas on my back that we were concerned were cancer. So, they still have it where you can't bring um, a support person. Now, not a big deal, and it's like downtown where I live, so it's not like normally we have to go across the bridge to Halifax, from Eastern Passage. So it's a little longer drive and a little more complicated through the city and stuff like that. And usually it's to do with the breast issue or the other issues, medical issues I've had. So it's important that Jen's there to support me, and if there's decisions to be made like on the spot, because unfortunately that's what's happening right now with waiting lists and stuff like that. They'll say, this is your options. I could put you on a waiting list, blah blah blah, or we can wait and see, that kind of thing. And of course, I'm probably going to say no, put me on the list, because the list is like 2 years long, right? So anyway, so when I went today, it was so weird being out. And of course, I said to Jen, I'll stop at the grocery store. It's so funny. She calls me from the grocery store and asks me specifics all the time. Oh gosh, even in gay relationships, you get that. But so of course, what did I do? I get driving down the road, and the warning light comes on in the car that I need gas. I haven't driven in forever. So, and it's my car. So I go to the gas station. There was a grocery store by the gas station. So I called her and said, "Is there anything we need?" So, not to mention, I'm pumping gas, and of course the price of gas has gone up. And she wants me to sell the car because it's sitting there. I don't drive it anymore. And so I thought, oh gosh, she's gonna flip out when she hears how much I put in gas. So it was over $100 in gas. But anyway, that's nothing compared to some of these people with trucks and SUVs and stuff like that. Or if you have to drive for work every day. Like, yeah, I'm not complaining by all means, but anyway, so that it was weird being out, and then it was like everybody is now out, so they're like in Nova Scotia, people talk a lot. Like you could have a full-on half-hour conversation with somebody and you walk away and the person you're with will say, "Who is that?" And you'll say, "I don't know." People will just stop and talk to you, tell you their whole life story. That's the way it is here. So of course that was going on today. Like every store I went to was like that. And it was, I said to Jen, I said, it was kind of nice being out and socializing. She's like, "Oh, I don't socialize when I go to the store. I get my business done." And I'm like, "No, I mean, like they said hello and asking me how I was and stuff like that." But anyway, so again, that whole story came out of my socialization comes from, participating in YouTube videos and talking to you guys. So I really, really appreciate all of you for being there and, putting yourself out there and commenting and stuff. Really, really appreciate it. I tell people what I do, that I do these videos and that people talk to me and send me things, and they're stunned. They're just blown away by what you guys do. So it's like big clap to you guys. And having said that, I have a surprise. There's a giveaway coming up for July 1st. Oh, for my American friends, but everybody will be able to participate. So anyway, enough yammering. Get to beading. Take care, everybody. Bye.